but I want. Sam Bugler is a 2025 graduate from Drake University, so recent in May, with majors in strategic political communication and digital media production. He is the volunteer and events coordinator at Global Health Ministries, working with groups, helping individual volunteers, and planning events like the GHM Symposium and Gala, which galas are a lot of work.
Yes, I haven't had that one yet.
Okay.
That's coming up,
That's
so I gotta get ready for that.
After.
Perfect.
I read that and oh my. And he's originally from Owatonna, Minnesota, and he spends his off hours playing drums. So, welcome. We're so glad to have you, and several people in this room have been to Global Health Ministries, so that's fun to see.
Great, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So like you said, who here knows of GHM, has been to GHM, anything like that? Fantastic. Glad to see that we have a little bit of both. So I do have a presentation that we're gonna kind of go through just a little bit here, but it's super informal. So if you come up with questions as we go, anything you want to ask me, feel free. We'll have question time at the end as well. But it's not a big deal if you want to interrupt me. Totally good. So Global Health Ministries is a Lutheran-based nonprofit out of Fridley in the Twin Cities, and we work to supply health facilities from all across the globe with medical equipment. So if you want to switch to the first slide here. So we were founded back in 1987 by a group of Lutheran missionaries. They did their work overseas and then came back and still had that servant heart. They still wanted to try and give back as much as they could. So they decided, we're going to get together, start this ministry. And as you can see, it started out of a storage unit. So they would start in the cold, outside, packing boxes and then shipping them over individually. And then as it grew and grew, they moved into other facilities. They were in the Minneapolis area Synod office for a little while. Then they moved to another location and then eventually moved to our current spot in Fridley, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You can switch to the next one. So Global Health Ministries does work in 16 different countries. That's a record for us this year. We added 2 new ones. You can see all of the places on our map here where we do work. We ship directly to 4 of them. So we ship to Tanzania, Madagascar, Zimbabwe, and Liberia directly, but then we'll do other kinds of work in all the other 12. And so we'll get to that, like I said, in a little bit, but you can see it isn't just in Africa. We really are a global organization. So we'll do work in India as well. I don't think you can see that up there, but a couple in Central America, Papua New Guinea, all these different places that we work directly with. So if you want to follow me at that slide, we primarily call our work into 3 separate buckets. So we have our shipping ministry, which I'll talk a lot about, and then we have our consulting work and we have grant work. So our consulting work, it's a very active program for us. We send out consultants to all these different countries all the time to do work in these health facilities. So right now, I think we have a group of 12 people in at a hospice facility in Tanzania currently. So they're helping out there for it can be anywhere from like 3 weeks to 3 months to 2 weeks. You know, it's a wide variety of timing, but they can do hospital administrator work is one that we have a lot of from these different facilities. We'll send people to do evaluations and assessments of the hospitals and see what they need. We have a very active and robust program working with drilling wells for water in all of these different countries. So we send a consultant out for that fairly frequently. And it's often very specialized people who have experience in healthcare, working with administration, all these different things that we put out feelers for. We try and match the partner with the consultant, so it's a good fit for them. Because everything that we're doing at Global Health, we want to be beneficial for our partners. So if you go to our next slide, when we start working with a health facility, we kind of do a needs assessment with them. will work. That's our operations director, Scott. If you've ever been to Global Health Ministries, you've probably met him. He's been there for 30 years at this point. And everybody knows Scott. He is infamous around the building, but he will work directly with, and along with our co-directors of consulting, with these different facilities to figure out what they need. We can do capacity building work is our primary goal. We want to make sure that we're not just sending stuff that, they use and it's fine, but they're reliant on. We want to help them build up their capacity to do work themselves through sending equipment or other things like that. We'll work with them on our warehouse inventory. So we'll send them a list of everything that we have currently in our warehouse, and then they will go through it. They'll take a look at it, see what they need, see what they would want out of this list, send us back, what the items that they're looking for. And then we will see if we can provide that, see what other hospitals are looking for, all that fun stuff. And so that's Scott's job, it's a lot of working with all of that. And then new purchases, because also sometimes a lot of the items that we might send, they're great, but in country, there might be a way for us to purchase an item for these different hospitals. If it's cheaper than us having to ship it over there, there might be a facility that's selling one in Kenya that we can transport somewhere else, or it might get manufactured over there. So we'll look at all the options before we send it, but we just try to work with them so that way we know what works best. We go to our next slide here. So I'm going to get into our warehouse a little bit. This is our donation drop-off area. So we get donations every day, Monday through Thursday from 9 to 4. So if you want to click to the next slide quick. Sorry, I know I'm kind of going fast here. But we get donations from all kinds of people. So you can see individuals will come up all the time. They'll just call us up and they'll be like, hey, I'm here at Global Health Ministries. Can I drop this off? So we're like, sure, come on into our driveway. It can be, shower chairs, walkers, wheelchairs, old unused equipment that they don't need anymore, any of that kind of stuff. And we get that all the time. Or we'll work directly with healthcare facilities to try and get some of their larger pieces of equipment, the unused stuff that they don't use anymore, the potentially old or expired. We don't take expired items, but we take items within a year of expiration. We try not to as much as possible because for us shipping takes so long, but we will still take it off their hands because we can try and find a way to use it. And then we'll have churches. Churches will donate things all the time, like newborn kits, which I've heard have been done here before. Newborn kits, rolled bandages. We have some slides on those later on, but groups will come in all the time and say, hey, we have 3 boxes, 5 boxes. Can you take these? We say absolutely. If you want to go to the next slide, this is more in our warehouse, our receiving sorting area. So you can see we have a ton of boxes in there. At any given time, we'll have about 10,000 boxes in our warehouse. And we go through about 1/4 of them every month. Because of shipping so much, we're just constantly turning over inventory. And now actually we're starting to get pretty low because we are doing 16 containers this year. So it's a 40-foot shipping container that we will send out, pack it to the brim with everything. And we're doing 16 this year, which is the most we've ever done in a year. So we're starting to run low on our inventory actually now. And it's all reliant on donations. We buy little things here and there. For example, we bought a couple months ago, we bought 1 million gloves because it was, I'm sure the exact numbers I want to say, for a hospital in Tanzania to buy a box of gloves, I believe it costs, or I think it was, a box of gloves was about $15. And for us to buy them, it was about $2. So there's no reason for us to not buy them in bulk and then be able to ship them out as much as we can, because gloves are our #1 most requested item from these hospitals. They just need them so much, and in some places latex is hard to come by, or it might be more expensive, or I think in Liberia they just don't allow you to manufacture latex in the country. They consider it a controlled substance. So we have to try and make up for that as much as possible. So gloves are our #1 most requested item, and then rolled bandages are our #2, because those are just able to be used so much. want to go to our next slide. This is our surgical instrument room, which is always a very important room for us to highlight because these items in the US, they're single use only. Or they might just be, you know, a hospital will have a pack of all these items. They'll open up one that they need for a procedure. The rest are contaminated. They can't use them because they opened up one that they use once. So then we try and get it as much as possible from these facilities. If we have a relationship with them, we're able to say, hey, put them aside in a box and send them to us, because the facilities overseas can use them, you know, 7, 8, 9 times before they have to get rid of them, because they can just sanitize them and use them again. So we actually had a doctor from Liberia in probably 6 months ago now who came in, looked at that wall and said, wow, you have more equipment in this room than we have in our entire country. So the need is there, and the need is great, and we're just trying to fill that as much as possible. And so you can see we have some volunteers, very dedicated volunteers who will be in our surgical instrument room. You know, typically every Tuesday, that's kind of our big volunteer day, is Tuesdays. We'll have about 30 people in every week. And then our other days of the week, you know, fluctuate a little bit. It can be anywhere from, you know, 3 to 15 on any given Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, all that. But our volunteers, especially in the surgical instrument room, will be former nurses or doctors who will come in and work with these pieces of equipment and to make sure that they're ready, to make sure that they can make a kit. So they'll have general procedure kits, so just everything that you might need for a surgery, but they'll also create more specific boxes, and those are going to be for your specific procedures. So if, you know, they need to do this one very specific thing, they can just grab this box. Everything that they need is right in it, and they can take it all out and work with it from there. So our volunteers are the lifeblood of our organization. They do so much for us, and it's really an incredible ministry that they do. If you want to hit the next slide.
They got a comment.
Yes.
In the world of veterinary medicine, I'll have to say, if surgical equipment like that can be cleaned and autoclaved and used hundreds of times.
Of course.
If you're sending a container, when you fill a big, huge container getting on a ship, where does it go? Or it can't go just to one hospital or something unless.
No, it varies. What
Okay.
will generally happen is it will arrive country, and then it'll go to a central location, a central facility that it will arrive at, and then the supplies will get taken off and then be distributed from there. So they'll have trucks or things that will go out to these more rural clinics or hospitals from there. But oftentimes, I mean, it depends. We've sent containers just to one facility before because it's such a huge partner for us. For example, in Liberia, there's a hospital called Phoebe Hospital, and they are, I think, the largest health facility in the country. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that they are, and so we'll send them as much as we can because they need it so badly, and then they're able to distribute it out from there. Because oftentimes in these countries, the health system is run by the Lutheran Church. So if it gets to one hospital, it'll be able to go out from there, even if it just starts all at that one location.
And does Global Health Ministries have specific locations in some of these countries?
Nope. We'll work with the facilities that are there, and we have relationships with them already, but we don't have locations like that. We only are based in Fridley.
Okay.
So everything that we send out goes through our warehouse unless we bought it in country.
So ship a container over there, does it take days, weeks, months?
Yes, so it takes months. We'll talk a little bit more about the process of that in a little bit, but generally from the time an item gets into our warehouse to the time it gets into the facility and is able to be used by the doctors, it's about 6 months. And so that's part of why we aren't able to take items within that year of expiration, or if we do, we have to be very careful about it, or they just kind of sneak it past us on accident. So because it takes so long, we want to make sure that the doctors have time to use it. So we try to not send anything within that year. There is a ministry that we do called the suitcase ministry, which is something where if GHM is sending volunteers or sending consultants, we will take those items within a year of expiration, pack them into a suitcase, and then be able to send that along with our consultants. And then the whole suitcase is a donation, because we get donations of suitcases sometimes. So we'll just send the suitcase with full of all these different, more closer to being expired items that then the hospital can get and have more time to use them because they'll get them much faster. And then keep the suitcase and use it for whatever they need to. So this is part of our receiving shipping ministry. This is our kind of inventory process. You can see we have volunteers who scan things in when it's time for us to load a container. Generally, the way it will start is with Scott creates what we call a pick sheet. And that's a sheet full of every single box that we need out of our warehouse. It's got the locations of it, all that jazz. And so when an item comes in, it'll go through our rough sort area first, which is kind of generally checking for what type of item is it? Is it for pediatrics or all these different kind of categories, and check for expiration dates. Then it'll go into our fine sorting room, which is where they sort gloves by size, needles by weight, all of the more specific things, and pack them in the boxes. So that way we know exactly what we have and what we can send out. And then that box will get added into our inventory system. And it will get one of those nice big white stickers that you can see there. Then it will go up onto a pallet, up into our warehouse, and it will wait. Once the pick sheet comes out, if that box is on it, we have to go through our entire warehouse, and we will go through, pull down a pallet, check the boxes, which is what these fine gentlemen are doing here. They're scanning the label to see if it is needed for the pick. If it is, we'll put it onto a pallet. If not, we'll put it back, send it back up into the warehouse. So it's a very time-intensive process, which is part of why we have, our volunteers who are amazing, and then volunteer groups. We get groups in all the time from churches, from schools, organizations that need service hours, all these kind of stuff. They will come in and we'll utilize them in many ways. We'll have them with the pick, we'll have them working on linens, because we have a bunch of linens that come in. We'll have them helping with loading the container, all these different kinds of things. But the pick is very important for us. If you want to go to the next slide. You can just see another example. We have a youth group here. In the summers, youth groups we're huge on youth groups. We have 2 a day, 3 a day sometimes. It's fantastic. And they'll come from all over. We work with organizations like Service Learning Camp and other things like that, which will set up these groups to just be in Minneapolis for the week and do all these things. But one of their stops will be with Global Health Ministries, or they'll spend 2 days here, or it can really, really vary depending on the groups. But we have a ton, and they're super important to us, and they're also just fun to have around. Makes it very chaotic, but it's very good. If you want to go to our next slide, you can see here after a box, if it says yes, that it's going to go onto the pick, it will get this little assign tag, which is just so that way then we know, okay, this is going to be going, and then we'll get it all ready, put into our staging area. You can go to the next one there. And so this is where things get really fun, because we start staging our pallets. And so you can see they're huge. We'll have 20, 30, 40 pallets waiting to get loaded into this container. Because when we ship a container overseas, we don't pay based on weight. We just pay based on container. So that means that, we don't want to just send it with empty space. What we do instead is basically, instead of just lifting the pallet, put it on, call it good, grab the next one, load it, we bring the pallet in and we unwrap it and individually stack every single box up, almost like a game of Jenga or Tetris, to get it as full as possible. It's quite impressive because Scott has done this, for a long time, and so he's very good at it. So he's crawling up on ladders, shoving boxes and slamming them in to get it as tight as possible. The roof of the container I've actually seen bend up. Because he's able to fit so much in, and he's able to do that. But it costs about $30,000 for us to ship a container overseas, because of port fees, customs, actual shipping, all that kind of stuff. So we try to fit as much as possible, and we're doing record numbers of containers. So a large part of our ministry, yes.
No, just a question, is cardboard boxes?
Yep.
Everything's in a cardboard box.
Yep.
Where do you get all these cardboard boxes?
It depends. We just we just have a lot in our stock from over the years, but people will also donate boxes to us. If they have extra, they'll donate. Quite oftentimes, donations will come in a box that then we can take them out of and reuse the box later on. And then, like I said, we have supplies of, if we start to run low, we'll buy, a pack of boxes or whatever, and we'll have people make them from there. So we really get them from anywhere, any chance that we can get. Yeah, it's impressive, the number of cardboard
Because
boxes.
you get donated boxes, I mean, they've already got labels on them, there's something, so there must be some criteria as to whether or not you can accept a used box, right?
Basically, as long as it's in decent condition, it's fine. I mean, we can just cross over labels, we can tape over them, we can do all these kind of different things to make sure that it's fine. But as long as it has our 2 stickers on it, that's all that we need for our systems. So that way we know what it is, where it's going.
And it's going into the same big container, so that's.
Exactly.
You ever ask churches to collect cardboard boxes?
I'm not sure.
I know, we're collecting plastic bags for somebody else.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know.
That would be good. I should ask about that. I'm not sure. It would not surprise me if we did. Because we can use them. We use them every day
Okay,
for
well,
making.
I think we're good at collecting and donating, so we do cardboard boxes.
For sure.
Good.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind. So if you want to go to our next slide here, this is just more about the shipping. Like I said, it takes about 6 months, because it'll go basically when we get the container, it's kind of like buying a plane or a train ticket. It's got to be at these places at these specific times. So we only have a certain amount of time to pack. So we will quite often, our general schedule is we get a container in on Monday afternoon, 3-ish. Then we'll pack all day Tuesday, pack all day Wednesday, gone Thursday morning. So we have to fill this thing really quick. 40 feet. So it's the typical like
10 feet?
yeah, it's like a train
Yeah.
container, the kind that you see in elevators. Yeah, something like that. So it's a lot of space. We fit about 2,000, 3,000 boxes in a container. So every single one has to be individually grabbed, stacked, pushed, all that. And then it gets even more fun because we'll send pieces of equipment, or in our last container, we had like examination chairs, like the chairs in doctor's room, which are great and are loved by our facilities. They're not exactly a great, packing size. A little hard to fit in. So we have to try and squeeze boxes in as best as we can and work around it. And so one thing, like, we don't use packing peanuts. We use rolled bandages instead,
Oh,
because we don't want to send them anything that they can't use. So we'll fill boxes if they need extra stuff with rolled bandages, or when we're packing, for example, we will have pillowcase stuffers. So it's quilts stuffed inside pillowcases that then we can use as fillers for gap space to kind of make sure that everything stays solid. Because we just don't want to send them, bubble wrap, because they'll just have to throw it away. And customs too makes it a bit more of a challenge, because customs is different in every single country and changes so fast. The staff at a customs facility, their turnover is incredibly fast because they're always looking for results. So in some of these countries, they're looking for things that then they can take out and make a profit on. So we have to be super careful with what we send, so that way they, say we're good. Otherwise, a container will get stuck in port for months, potentially on end. We'll have to pay overdraft fees or charges for keeping it there. We'll have to pay fines if they find expired items. In Tanzania, they hate single-use plastic. So we had a church that was very, very sweet and made newborn kits for us, which is amazing. One of the items in newborn kits is a bar of ivory soap, which is great. And this church put the soap in plastic baggies, which is very thoughtful and very appreciated, but really, really bad for customs. So we have a group of volunteers on Tuesdays called the Linen Ladies. They're very proud of themselves. It's great. We love them. But they work with the linens, and they go through every newborn kit. And so they saw these and had to take it out of the plastic. But But if you want to go to our next slide. A container will arrive at a facility, so it'll generally go from us onto, truck to train to boat to probably train again and then onto truck. And so it's just this really, really long, intensive process for it to get there. But then it will arrive in country just like that. What they do kind of varies. I think it is in Liberia where they'll have the archbishop of the church come and he blesses the container before they open it, which is, amazing and so good. It can often lead to our container just kind of sitting there for a couple days as we wait for the archbishop to arrive. But it's a very, very good piece of ministry for them. And they, obviously they love it. So you can go to our next slide. You can just kind of see they'll get these pieces of equipment that they might not have had before, that they might not have had the ability to use before. And so we work really hard to make sure that we can provide them with everything that they need for it. So when a piece of equipment comes into us, it might be a little broken or old. And so that's when we have more volunteers who are able to kind of look at that. They have experience with this equipment and they'll kind of fix it up, see what it needs, see what we can do to make it right for them. They'll check the power because the power supplies are different overseas. So they'll see what we need to do to adapt it for that. All these different kind of things. They'll tell us, we'll buy them the equipment or the pieces that they need to fix it, to repair it. And then we'll also provide a manual. So we will get the manual for this item. So that way they know overseas what it is, how it works, all that jazz. And then we'll kind of help them out that way. So you can go to our next slide. You can just see another example of a piece of equipment that we shipped over. You can go on to our next one. Now I'm going to just talk a little bit about our newborn kits. So you can see two examples, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, of them being received at a hospital. These are a little older pictures, so that's why they're in the plastic baggies. Now we put them in pillowcases, or we'll wrap them just in towels and then send it over just like that. But these are so loved by the mothers that receive them. It will often, we hope, establish a sense of trust between the mother and the hospital. So that way she's more likely to bring her child back for potentially life-saving care. And they're just a great ministry for us. We are hoping to do 20,000 this year. We're at around, I want to say 16, 17, 18. So we're getting quite close, which is amazing. And we've also partnered with Lutheran World Relief this year. They had a bunch that they were unable to ship out for various reasons. So they sent them to us. We were able to send them out for them. So it's all about that relationship, that partnership to try and send as much as we can. If you want to go to our next slide, you'll see one of our rolled bandage recipients. So you can see they're used so quickly and so needed by our hospitals. You can go to our next slide, and then there's another example of them. So they're just missionary bandages that are super easy. It's just bed sheets, torn up in a strip, rolled up, tape, and that's it. It's a super easy project. I did actually, this past week, I went to a church and we have little bandage rolling machines that are just made out of wood and wire. Just roll them right up, makes it super easy. It's really, really fun, especially for this group who was a slightly older crowd who just wanted a chance to chat while they did it. And so a project like this works super well for that because it's not, like our newborn kit project, if you've done it before. It can be a little bit more thinking, grabbing, trying to stack, where something like this is just nice and easy and you can do it right away. When I go to our next slide, you can see these are just a bit of the numbers that we have. So you can see we shipped out over 150 tons of supplies this year, over $4 million worth through our projects, through this, shipping, through all that. And we have, I think we're at 333 unique volunteers who have come into GHM so far, which does not include our groups, because we classify our groups all as just one for our data keeping source. So that's just individual people who have come in who want to serve. So it's amazing. It truly is. And then we've helped serve over 1 million people so far this year. So I think that's about all. I just have one last just general slide. It doesn't have any information on it, but now if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any other ones. Yes.
How do you
how does it happen that you serve in a particular spot?
Mhm.
Do the churches throughout the world have sort of areas they specialize in, like I'm thinking of Palestine at the moment, you know? Or, you know,
Mhm.
American churches do Africa and.
It varies.
So,
So a lot of the churches, we don't reach out. We don't reach out to hospitals. They'll reach out to us if they're
Mhm.
interested in partnering. A lot of the different churches do kind of have their countries. Like the Lutherans are more in the ones that we do, the Catholics are more in other countries in Africa. But it's again a big partnership. So we're still able to work with them either way, you know, kind of try and see what we can do. Because as much as even if we are a Lutheran organization, we're a Christian organization as a whole, so we're still trying to partner as much as we can. And so hospitals will reach out to us directly if they want help, and then we're able to work with them. So it's less of us doing the outreach, because we have so much going on that we just don't have time to be able to do that.
what just struck me with Papua New Guinea, because Australia, New Zealand
Mhm.
Lutheran Church,
Yeah,
who send a lot of people to Papua New Guinea. I just wondered, you know.
yeah.
How that came about, because you're thinking it'd be Australia, New Zealand.
I'm not sure. I think that was one of our 2 new countries that we added this year.
Uh,
But they added that before I got there. This is in my 5th month now. I started in June. So we're still learning the ropes.
Yeah.
Question, how many employees are, paid employees are there?
We are at about 10-ish. So.
They're all-
Mhm. Exactly. It's pretty incredible to see the amount of work. Yes.
I'm curious about when this container gets into the country.
Yep.
Who is representing your organization there? It seems almost like there needs to be an advocate for the container itself so that it can move along.
Yeah, so we have people in country who we work with who have worked with customs for years or all that kind of stuff. So I think in Tanzania, it's a guy named Joel. I don't know how those relationships started. That is again Scott, and he goes, we'll send staff and people overseas quite frequently. We're sending Scott and then our new co-director of consulting over to Madagascar later this week, actually. And so it's all about those relationships. So once you get in with one person who's hopefully good, that person then will know the system, know what's happening. And so it's all about just having that connection with someone local. Sometimes it's through the church. It might be a church employee who then is able to work directly and go to the customs. Other times it's a customs person who's able to might be slightly on the outside so they don't deal with all that turnover. It just kind of depends country to country.
So I have this mental picture of all these empty containers sitting over in Africa.
Yes.
What happens to the empty containers?
That's a fantastic question, because it depends. Because some of the containers we rent, and so we'll rent it, send it over, and then the shipping company will get it back. Other times in certain countries, we'll buy a container, right? So we'll buy the thing outright. It'll come to us to go through all the processes. We'll send it over there, and then they'll keep it. It'll be a donation to the hospital that then they're able to use for what they want. So we know that there's one of our containers, for example, is being used as a little internet cafe. So they took it out, they punched a hole in the side, put up an antenna, and then they're able to have Wi-Fi in there and use that what they
What
need.
does a container cost?
Oh, that's a great question.
Just,
We're helping you learn.
No, this is good. Oh, I'm not sure. I think I want to say anywhere in the realm of 25 to 50K ish. So it kind of varies. There's certain countries where it's worth it for us to just buy one outright, but a lot of times we'll also just rent it, and that'll be included in the 30,000 that we.
But where does all this money come from? I saw you have grant writers, obviously, but.
We more provide money in terms of grants. We are donor funded. So we don't have any money from the government or anything like that. We get it all from donors. Whether that's small individual donors, there's groups that will get large donations from. A huge part of our financial thing is bequests. People will leave us money in their will quite often. So it's a wide variety, but it's pretty much all donation funded,
Wow,
which is incredible.
it is.
It's amazing.
I think the ELCA is a, or you're considered a partner, or they're considered a partner of yours.
Yes.
But do you receive any funding from the LCA?
It depends. I think we have in the past. It kind of varies based
Yeah.
on timing of projects and if
Yeah.
that's. We'll work a lot with, for example, this is just because I know it the best. The Southeast Minnesota Synod, that's my home synod. They are very active in their partner synod is in Tanzania. So they are really active with Tanzania, and then they'll work through us. So sometimes they'll send us money to send over there, or they'll, want to send specific items to hospitals, so they'll pay for us to buy the item, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really, again, relational part of our ministry. Anything else you want to know?
I'm curious.
Yes.
I can't help but think this way, it's a dark thought.
Yep.
But if these containers are really quite valuable.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had experience with people being bribed and the
Absolutely.
container going the wrong way?
Yep, we've had it so, that I'm trying to think here, if they'll find, one item and they want to, they can just take the container and burn the items in it if they so choose. So it's again, also, it's about having a guy like Joel in there who's able to work directly with the customs people. But it can be a gamble. You never really know for sure until it's in country on the ground.
Mhm.
You just kind of gotta hope that you're able to work it out and make sure that it all goes through.
Is there tracking on each of the pitchings so you can actually see when it gets to the destination?
Yep, so you can, I believe that the container number itself has like a tracking through the internet system or it's either that or the ship that it goes on. So you're able to follow it as it goes along through, which is, we're able to see where it is, and then we know once it lands in port, we'll have Joel go check it out, or we'll have whoever else go make sure and talk to the customs people there, see if they need anything from us, see what it all.
I'm gonna backtrack here a little.
Yeah.
bit. I mean, a lot of the equipment is gonna have power.
Yep.
You convert the power prior to it shipping on everything, that's a lot of conversion.
We the larger pieces of equipment, we will try to, we'll just provide, we'll get, adapters that then we can send along with.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll try and get it in country because it's, built for that power system. And so that will work well for us to do.
Okay.
If our church wanted to help in some way?
Yes,
What would be, what's a huge need or something that,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think newborn kits, roll bandages are always needed. GHM, we're getting close to the end of our funding, so I can't promise anything for sure, but in the past, we've provided the supplies for a church to do a packing event. So we will actually, we will buy everything and send it straight to you, so then if you guys pack it up and get it all ready, we can ship it back straight to us. So that's something that we do. Like I said, rope bandages are huge. If you want like supply drives, just asking for, hey, what do you have in your home? What do you have that you don't use? That might be from, former parent or anything who might have passed away, who you want to get rid of it, but anything like that, we'll take that. And so then, we've had people do drives for supplies before, all that kind of stuff.
So I have a collection.
Yes.
Knee stabilizers.
Yes.
Can I donate those? Can they
Absolutely.
be used?
Yeah, are they electric or are they
No, they're just,
expired?
no, they're
Yeah,
just,
then
belt
absolutely,
on the leg, right?
for sure. We'll take it.
My corner of the attic that's got suitcases.
Yeah.
What size or type of suitcases do you usually use?
Generally, we'll take anything. It doesn't, we don't, it just kind of varies. We'll try and just fill it as much as we can to be with, right at that like 50-pound or whatever the threshold is. So, we'll take whatever in terms of suitcases.
Do you still do the hospice kits?
We do.
Cause
Yep.
we've sent those several times.
Yeah, that's another part of our ministry. Those are more expensive in general. Cause they have Vaseline and some other more higher price items.
Right.
So we do more newborn kits than we do hospice kits, but we still absolutely take hospice kits and make those within our facility as well. It's a great ministry.
Do you have a list of what is in each of these kits? I mean, you guys
Yeah.
probably all know it already. I'm the newbie here.
Yes.
I know that.
Yep. We have on our website, we have a page which is dedicated just to service projects. So on there, it's got everything that's in a newborn kit, everything that's in a hospice kit, how to make rolled bandages. It's got all the different projects that people have done. And it's a great place to just go. I also have pamphlets and leaflets in my card as well, if anyone needs it out.
So I also have a collection of bed sheets, bed linens. But I don't use.
Sure.
So are there instructions on how to tear them or cut them for bandages?
Yes, in terms of for bandages, we only do white linens,
White.
pure white linens.
Yeah.
But we'll also have, I mean, if they're not white, we'll still take them, not as bandages, but just as sheets as a whole, because we can still send those overseas and they can use them in the beds there. But yeah, there is instructions on how to do all of that.
I'm trying to downsize, can you tell?
Not a bad thing.
I'm to a great place.
Right.
No.
How much room you have in your trunk?
Not that much. A little bit.
No, we could easily do a project and then we could even bring it there. I mean,
That'd be great.
back
And
truck or
Yeah.
whatever.
We're happy to, I give tours all the time of our warehouse. Might be a lot of similar information, I would need to vary it up. But we do tours, we have volunteer groups, like I said, who are in all the time, who will get tours and information and then do a little project in the warehouse.
Just for our group's information, up until this year, for the last 15-20 years, we've sent a group down once a year, and we've taken 30 to 40 of the hospice kits with us, as well as other donated items like here's, yes, we've taken CPAP machines, we've taken whatever.
That's
people
a good idea.
donated. So this year, we didn't go, but we're certainly able to rejuvenate that for the future.
We should.
It would be really fun to bring a group of our young
Our
kids, our
confirmation.
confirmation kids or something.
Mhm.
Would be great for them to see.
Yes. Definitely. It's an amazing place. Everyone should go once just to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, how did you get connected in the first place?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So me personally, my dad's an ELCA pastor. So I've been around the church my whole life, but I had never heard of Global Health Ministries. So then in January of this year, I was looking for a job and I was checking Synod websites, which shows you just how like cool of a guy I am that I'm just looking at websites for a job. Maybe a little high marked up. But then this was on it and I just clicked on it and it looked like I have a lot of experience with events. So it looked like a great fusion of kind of all my interests and everything, and I applied and they got back to me and here we are.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been great so far. It's a really good team and getting to work with the volunteers is incredible. They're all fantastic and amazing and so varied. We have a group, the frogs coming on Fridays. They're, I don't remember it's like retired old Lutheran geezers, something, I don't remember. I don't remember their acronym. They have an acronym for something. And they clean. They clean our entire office, so they'll do trash, they'll do all the things, and they've done this for years. They just come in from a church, they do it, they sit and have their coffee, and it's great.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's been really good.
You're really knowledgeable for 5 months.
Yeah.
This is part of the thing, so I do a lot of the speaking.
Yeah.
I think when we've been down there, we've had to unwrap some kits on help and stuff like that. To me, it was the churches do it at their own churches and then you take it down there. It just seemed like a lot of duplicate work when we were down.
Yeah,
Is there a reason?
it depends. Quite often when it is a church that will send it on their own, we check it because of the things like the plastic bag, like I said, you just don't know for sure that everything is exactly what we hope. So we're working on changing that so that way you can just check a couple, and if the couple are fine, you take the whole thing and call it good there. Or if we have a staff member present for a newborn kid event or something like that, then we try to not have them go through it as much as possible. But it's just double check and it's safety to make sure that we aren't accidentally signing anything we don't want to be. Or to make sure that a kit has every item, because you know, you might be missing one in a random thing, so we have the extras of all the supplies that we can just fill in as we go.
That's probably something you need is cloth bags of certain sizes.
Mhm.
And does it have to be a particular kind of, well,
Generally, we'll send everything in pillowcases as opposed to like bags on their own.
Love that idea.
Yeah, that's great.
But so that cloth bags are great. We don't have any specific sizes for it. We'll kind of be able to fit just, you know, as long as it's big enough to fit a newborn or hospice kit, which is big-ish. So we'll have volunteers who will also, they'll take pillowcases and they'll make them smaller so it will fit specifically. I can look and see what those sizes are, but I
well,
don't,
is that on the website as well?
I don't know if that is. I'll look and I'll see and I'll reach out if I find out what size it is, because I'm not sure off the top of my head.
So the pillowcases could be any color.
Yeah, that's good for anything.
You know, my collection.
Yep, those can be any color, and then we'll work with them.
We will have a pillowcase drive.
That's a great idea. We'll take them. We
Yeah,
use them all the
yeah.
time.
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you guys. We really appreciate being able to come out here. Great. Like I said, I have pamphlets, brochures, if anybody wants to come.
Center, I know, it's just like,